Guys, what is going on? I hope you guys are well. So, guys, Terence Crawford in the Kevin Iole interview said that he wants Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao next. Bearing in mind he beats Kell Brook, which is no pushover for him. He says he wants Spence or Pacquiao next. As you can see, I think Terence Crawford is fed up of having all these fights with, Kavalauskas, Amir Khan, Kell Brook. There's only so many opponents that they can still keep digging out. And I think Terence Crawford doesn't really want to fight Keith Thurman and Sean Porter anymore. I'll tell you why. Because he feels when they were champions, right, none of them gave him a shot. Do you see what I mean? Like when Sean Porter was a champion, Crawford would have happily fought him. But Sean Porter decided to fight Errol Spence, right? And he says he feels a certain way about that. I remember him in an interview. This wasn't the one with the Iole, but he said this a while back. That when he was champion and I wanted to fight him, they didn't fight me. And now they're not champion. They want to fight him. So he just wants to fight the champions. And the champions are Pacquiao and Spence. So for me personally, I think it makes sense. I think he's right. I think he should look to chase Pacquiao and Spence next. The Spence fight is the one that everybody wants to see around the world. The fight, when I say around the world, I mean all boxing fans want to see around the world. So that would make obviously a massive spectacle. It's definitely a fight that interests a lot of people. I wanna see that fight between him and Spence. I think a lot of people want to see him and Pacquiao as well. I think stylistically for Pacquiao, that's a great fight. Even now, I actually think Pacquiao could beat him. So I think for the Spence fight, I actually think both guys could beat Crawford. I think Spence would be a much bigger favorite for me. I just think it's a dangerous fight because of the size, the strength, and I think Crawford can only move up so many weight classes. And we've already seen a little bit of vulnerability from Crawford, right? And I just think that he's hit his ceiling. And I feel that this weight class he's going to take an L in this weight class. Because I think the fighters that he's going to face are much better. And guys like Spence are very dangerous customers. They're tough. They can take a punch. They're very big punchers themselves. And he's also a good boxer. And as we saw when Crawford fought Mikey Garcia, the size made a massive difference. Mikey Garcia might not be as skilled as Crawford, but still Mikey Garcia is a very, very talented guy, and he got washed by Spence. So let's see what happens when these two face off, because I do believe that they have to fight. The only problem is that the financials at the minute, I don't know if it makes sense. But eventually they're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to see that fight because it's a major fight, and a fight that I think most of the fans would want to see. So let's see how that all plays out. But I'd like to think that Crawford could get Pacquiao, or he could get Spence next. I believe though the fights that the fans want to see, I believe Pacquiao, if he's going to fight anybody between Spence and Crawford, I think he should fight Crawford. I just think Spence may be a little too big, a little too strong at this stage of Pacquiao's career. A younger Pacquiao, then no problem. But I think at this stage, I think Crawford fight makes more sense because Crawford's not that big. He's not as powerful as Spence. And what could happen if Pacquiao fights Crawford? He may get outboxed. That's about it. I don't see Crawford hurting him like that. Whereas I think Spence could hurt Pacquiao. That's why I would think that if Pacquiao's going to fight one of the two, I think he should fight Crawford. Or maybe wait for Crawford and Spence to fight and then look to go for the winner. But I think Crawford now is frustrated and he just wants to jump in with the big boys now. I don't even think he's looking for the Thurman or Spence fights, Thurman or Porter fights now. I just think he wants to jump in now with the top guys. If I'm totally honest with you, I think he's had enough. and I think he's called these guys out enough now, and he's just thinking, I just need the big fights. I just want the big fights and the big major fights, and he feels that Spence and Pacquiao are the big major fights. Because obviously, what you got to understand, he wants to unify, and in order for him to unify, he's got to fight Pacquiao or Spence. Now, I don't know what Manny Pacquiao's doing. Obviously, Spence is fighting Danny Garcia, so there shouldn't be any excuses after if he beats Garcia. Manny Pacquiao, like I said, I don't know what he's doing. I don't even know whether he's going to fight again. I don't know whether Manny Pacquiao is going to look to fight McGregor. We just don't know at the minute what Manny Pacquiao's doing. He's obviously 41. He's got a lot of other things on his mind and plate. So we just got to wait and see what Manny Pacquiao does. What is he going to do? Is he going to come back and have proper boxing fights? Is he going to fight McGregor? What's Manny Pacquiao going to do? We just have to wait and see at the minute, because I don't know what Manny Pacquiao's plans are. But I think while they're waiting, maybe they could fight one another. Spence and Crawford could fight one another next. If the Pacquiao fight can't be done for either guy, then a Spence fight makes sense for Crawford, and Spence fights makes sense for Crawford, and for Spence, a Crawford fight makes sense for him. So I think that should be the fight that they all should be looking to make next. I think there's no other real fight that makes sense. I think if they're all gonna stay in the division, then Crawford could fight Thurman and those guys after that. Because I don't know whether Crawford's gonna move up to 154. I think that might be a step too far. Possibly he may do if he can clean out the 147 division. Who knows? But listen, I think there's time now for the unification fights. We need to see Spence and Crawford. I think there's enough building of that fight now. They're both in their prime, and let's make it happen. Now, it's nowhere near as lucrative as some of the other big fights we've had of recent years, because neither guy's got... Spence is probably a bigger star, bigger name, but neither guy's really a huge pay-per-view or a superstar like that, They're both solid names, but I think both guys need work on their profile. But I think they're at the stage where I don't think it's going to get any bigger. Both of them are seen as top 10 pound for pound. So how bigger are their names or they're going to become? I just don't. I don't see them getting any bigger from a name point of view. So I think a Spence fight and a Crawford fight should probably happen next. I think it's as big as it's gonna get. I think if one of them beats Pacquiao, but you don't know what Manny Pacquiao's doing, so I don't think they should wait on Manny Pacquiao. I think they do their own thing and look to build their own legacy and try to fight one another, and that's a legacy fight because that'll be a massive fight. So rather than waiting on Manny Pacquiao, I know Spence wants that fight with Pacquiao. Just fight one another. Have like 2 fights, 3 fights, and have great fights, both at peak of their powers. And fans want to see it. So I don't think they should wait around for Manny Pacquiao. He's 41 years of age. I don't think they should be looking to get that big fight with him when they can fight one another and have a big fight of their own and probably fight each other twice or maybe 3 times. Make shed loads of money. If the first fight's good, I'm pretty sure the second fight and third fight would sell as well. So at the end of the day, I think they need to now start building their own legacy in terms of fighting one another, because that's their legacy fight for both of them. For both of them, it'll be their toughest fight. So just have that next. We know in America in certain parts that they've got fans in there. We saw Davis. So by the end of next year, I'm pretty sure that in America it might be back to full throttle with and how many fans they can have in the stadium. I don't think in America they have huge crowds anyway. Like how many times I don't see them packing out 70, 80,000 like they do here in the UK. So I'm pretty sure even if they can get 20,000 in, it's more than enough. How many were there at Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao? So at the end of the day, I think that they can still generate a huge pay-per-view number if they promote the fight well. It'll be a unification fight. Two of the best pound for pound fighters in the world. So it makes sense for me. But again, it's just Al Heyman working with Bob Arum. Is there enough money in that fight for everybody? I don't know, because I've said it in the past that I think financials could be a problem with Crawford Spence. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I hope we get to see it. I'm not confident we will. But, you know, Crawford's set out the plan. He wants Pacquiao or Spence next. I think the Spence fight is more realistic because we just don't know where Pacquiao's at the minute. We don't know who he's going to fight. We don't know what his plans are, and he's not really said much. And rightfully so. He's 41. He's not in the peak of his powers where he's done everything in boxing. Everything he's doing now is just a bonus. So these guys are still young. These guys are still got to create their legacy. So they've got to make things happen. So fighting one another makes sense if they can't get Pacquiao, which they may not get. So leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about Terence Crawford saying he wants Pacquiao or Spence next. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.